Connecticut, otherwise known as the group that couldn't talk straight. Because he left, he did well, and we all stay behind. He organized, and paid, I might add, for a reunion of DJs from WWCO, and even put together a compilation of all of our work for all of us to enjoy for many years to come, and I still have it and love it. But notwithstanding the generosity, listening to that CD, putting his work side by side with ours, and with repeat listens, his confidence grew. In truth, we must be credited with much of your success, Joe. Because you just kept listening and saying, gee, I'm so much better than those guys. Now, I've got to ask anybody here, because there are people who've been in the industry and others who just enjoy listening to radio. Have you ever been to a reunion of disc jockeys? I mean, really? Okay?
Scary.
You've never seen anything quite like it. Do you know the egos of extroverted introverts, people who act out in public, out of public sight? I mean, it's something very unusual to behold. And then the name game that goes on is something else that is remarkable. You see, in the old days, you had to sanitize your name. Nobody wanted to know what your ethnicity was. Is that right, Steve Thomas?
Steve Thomas.
My goodness.
I'm just mesmerized by your wonderful voice.
By the way, never has there been such a collection of great voices in one room since Don LaFontaine dined alone. I mean, that's really the truth.
Whoa, let me write that down.
Yeah, please do. Now, Dave, Joe, a.k.a. Tom,
Yes.
it's a little-known fact that the Beatles were actually inspired by his breathless set of name changes.
Wow.
Remember the song Buffalo Bill?
Yes.
Her friends called her Lil, but everyone knew her as Nancy. They got the inspiration from listening to Dave, Joe, Tom's audition tapes sent out under 3 names.
Well done, yes.
You got it, right?
Yeah, the first one, probably the one.
I'm a cheerleader.
It's to a point where Joe, Dave, Tom calls relatives who knew him as a child just to see what they call him so he can be clear what to put on his application for healthcare.gov. But seriously,
folks.
at this
I thought
reunion,
you were being serious. Certainly weren't being funny.
Let me get the heckler out of the
but seriously, at the reunion that we had, WWCO, that Joe put together, he of many names, he put it all together. You either thought you were at a ventriloquist convention, as we're all walking around, Larry, Brian, Tom, Dave, Joe, everybody's looking around, nobody knew who they were, or we were in the witness relocation program. I mean, something amazing was going on there. But in all seriousness, we are here to honor the work of one man of many names, who through this book, Living on Air, has taken a remarkable time in radio in this community, that we who contributed to it in our small way are rightly proud of. We've always been proud of what we did. Yet it was totally unknown to anybody else outside of this small community. And given the remarkable prominence that we think it deserves, and now we think because of his prominence, others in the broadcast industry will look back and say, wow, there was a lot of talent that was nurtured and developed in this small place, the city of Waterbury. I know Steve asks this question all the time. I know that Joe McCoy, everyone asks this question. So why did Joe make it so big when the rest of us didn't? Honestly, it's a question that keeps me up at night. Aside from other matters that decrepitude, brings along at night.
Prostate.
Yes, thank you, it was prostate. That was the word I was looking for.
What a class act.
But truly, Joe pursued it from a very tender age with a level of determination and sophistication and passion that honestly, it superseded the rest of us. Many of us were in it for different reasons, like to get girls.
Wait a minute, you can get girls in radio?
Well, we tried, but we didn't get the girls. Or to avoid manual labor. I mean, various reasons that we all got into this. But he got into it with a determination to stay the course, to really make it his profession, and to move along in a way that is just astonishing. And it's so great when one of us really makes it, because then we have somebody we can tap for a loan. I mean, now you just knew, if you were paying attention in those days, honestly, when he was only about 17 or 18, that what he lacked in years, he made up in potential, that he was determined to tap and not to squander. And because we knew that what he's accomplished was born out of sweat, determination, and a clarity in the design of his own career in a business with many fragile egos. I really mean this, honestly. I can say categorically, I don't know anyone who knew Joe in those early days who isn't genuinely thrilled to see all that he's accomplished. That, too, is a rarity in this game. I'm not kidding. I really mean it. So we're so glad that Joe is home again with tales to tell, along with his talented wife, Ann, who was on with me today, and I guess this was a rare appearance on radio. I'm so glad that you did. We had a wonderful time. She is the co-author of this book, and even by Joe's admission, the great writer in the family, and an Emmy recipient in her own right.
Yes.
I honor our female presence tonight, putting Waterbury on the map as a place where creativity is nurtured and passed on, and celebrating the great radio tradition that this city has. That is symbolized by some of the remarkable talents who have come out tonight to honor Joe and Ann. I know he will acknowledge them when he speaks in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, one of America's great voiceover talents and the co-author of Living on Air, Mr. Joe Cipriano.
Why don't you say a few words?
First in New York and then in Washington, D.C., where we met. But honestly, I have to tell you, our little secret is that we saved the best for last.
Yeah.
Because really, this is where Joe's career, Dave's career, Tommy's career started. And yeah, not just his, but there are other disc jockeys and voiceover people and actors who are here tonight who your career started here as well. And that's why it's so important. It's a town with a lot of heart, and he had great mentors helping him along the way. And Waterbury, Watertown, Oakville means so much to both of us. So we're really so happy to be here, and it's very heartwarming that family and friends and co-workers are here tonight. That we just want to thank you for supporting us in our little endeavor here with the book. And I'm going to just turn it over to Joe, Dave, Tom,
Frank,
and have him tell you about his adventures in broadcasting, living on air. But first, I want to say one other thing. Our brother-in-law, sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, sister-in-law,
yeah.
Henry and Eileen are here, our niece Christine, her husband Kurt, and my nephew Mark, his wife Scott couldn't be here tonight, but our great niece and nephew. We have Ashlyn and Tyler here tonight, so we're so happy to be here. Close friends and family, and they skipped school today.
Yeah.
Really, that was a special.
A real
this is
sacrifice.
A very special event. So don't tell anyone. And here's Joe with his adventures on air.
Wow, that was beautiful. Wow. You know, good night, everybody. Yeah.
Rifkin said you were buying the drinks.
Oh, gosh. Thanks, Larry.
Another heckler.
Well, yeah, of course. They're, you know. Wow. I mean, I have family here, cousins, high school friends, Steve Fournier, Kathy Atwood, Nancy Northrup. I mean, and people that I worked with at WWCO. Bruce Mankey's here, Eddie DiStefano, Danny Lyons, Steve Fika. Joe McCoy is here. My gosh, who did I miss? All right, good. And, you know, I have been talking about Waterbury for the past 3 years in writing this book. And it was so fun to recreate the early days for me in broadcasting. And I was just a kid, 14 years old, going to Watertown High School. And I called this disc jockey at my favorite radio station, WWCO. His name was Jerry Wolf, and he happened to be a great guy. And he allowed me to come down to the radio station, and I have to tell you, it was the most exciting thing in my life. And that day, he said to me, you know, why don't you come down on Saturdays, you can help me, you know, file records and things like that. And that was the start of my broadcasting career at 14. And I was hired at the radio station at 16 years of age, and yes, I used the name Tom Collins. I found that name, I scoured sports rosters, I even picked up books at school looking for names, and out of the Waterbury Republican American, thank goodness for the Republican American, in the obituary section, there was Thomas Collins, and I was reborn. I thought, this is awesome.
I thought you named yourself after the drink.
Well, you know, it all tied in when I saw Tom Collins.
Something now.
Sounds like
See, these are my high school friends. All they think about.
sounds like the screenplay from Chinatown.
So, what's that?
It sounds like the screenplay from Chinatown.
Bruce Makeley, ladies and gentlemen, right here. But while working at CO, and I worked nights while I was going to Watertown High School. I was a junior in high school, and I worked 6 to 10 at night. So I would go to school during the day, do my homework while I was on the air, while the records were playing. And when I graduated, they gave me the afternoon shift, 2 to 6. And one of my dream stations was WDRC in Hartford. Now, yesterday, I was interviewed on WDRC and WWCO at the same time because they're owned by the same company now. And what a thrill that was to be back on the 2 radio stations that started my career. When I went to DRC, I had to come up with another name because the signals crossed. I couldn't be Tom Collins there. So I went with Dave, my real name, but I went with Donovan as my last name. So I was Dave Donovan at DRC. I would work 2 to 6 at CO as Tom Collins, hop in the car, drive up to Hartford, 7 o'clock to midnight, I was Dave Donovan. So I'm just going to read a very short excerpt. Yeah, right. And listen, you know, I have a tough skin. You know, I've been in voiceover. People have thrown me out of doors. There goes one right now, ladies and gentlemen. You do not have to stand for this. So here we go. 14 years old. I've been at WWCO now for a few years. This is from the chapter, Everybody's Making It But Me. As the music director of WWCO, I receive boxes of records every week from record companies, with each song promising to be the next big hit. And one day, there was a song that landed on my desk that put a lump in my throat. It was actually a country tune by Shel Silverstein, and the title summed up my feelings at that time. It was called Everybody's Making It But Me. All my friends had left. Most of my friends had left CO and moved on to other radio stations. I tacked it up on my wall as a grim reminder of where my head was. I had been at WWCO now for 6 years, since I was 14 years old. I was making $150 a week, and I sent out air checks up and down the East Coast trying to move my career forward, and nothing was happening. But then, as I skip ahead, one of those air checks landed on the desk of a program director in Washington, D.C., and I got a phone call. Hello, Tom. This is Gordon Peele, program director, WRC Radio in Washington. Now, listen, we like that tape you sent us, but we're looking for DJs that can perform in a personality format. Do you have anything you can send me? I said, yeah, sure. I work at another station up here at WDRC. I'll send you that tape right away. So I sent him my Dave Donovan tape. And it was more of a free-form personality kind of format. A week later, I get a call from Washington, D.C. Hello, Tom. This is Gordon Peele, program director, WRC Radio in Washington. As you know, we like that tape you sent us, and we just want to let you know that we've narrowed it down to 3 people, and you're one of them. Congratulations. We're sorting things out here, but we'd like to have you come down for an interview in a few weeks. I hung up the phone, and I was in a daze. And then I got a call from WDRC in Hartford. It was the receptionist, and she said, Dave, I got a message here for you from Gordon Peele in Washington. I thought, wow, they're calling me up here too. I guess maybe they want me to come down right away. They've made their decision. So I called WRC in Washington, D.C. Gordon, you left a message for me at WDRC in Hartford? Yes, DRC in Hartford. You must be Dave Donovan, right? This is Gordon Peele here in Washington. I just want you to know that, congratulations, you're one of 3 candidates that we're looking for opening here at WRC. Oh, wait a minute, I just talked to you about a half hour ago. No, we haven't talked to you before, Dave. Well, yeah, you called me here at WWCO, where I'm Tom Collins. You're Dave and Tom. You're both the same person. Well then, whoever you are, it looks like you're 2 of the 3 people that are considered for this job. How soon can you get down here? I said, right away. I never knew who the 3rd DJ was. It could have been Ryan Seacrest or Rick Dees. I have no idea. But I do know, and this is true, that there were discussions that really turned into arguments about who was the better candidate, Dave Donovan or Tom Collins, before the folks at WRC and NBC knew that we were the same person. That next week, they flew me down to Washington, D.C. all right? I had just turned 20 years old. I'm from a small town, Oakville, Connecticut, and I had never been on an airplane in my life before, and it was surreal. And I ended up getting that job at WRC in Washington, and that was the start of my career. But it all started here in Waterbury, Connecticut, the place that I love, and I love all of you folks, and thank you so much for coming tonight. Thank you, Larry. Larry Rifkin from WATR Radio. Joe, thank you so much. What an honor. Unbelievable honor. Thank you very much. And thank the mayor for me. Who would ever think I would say thank the mayor for me? Wow. That's unbelievable. For my citation. So let's continue the party and have a little bit more food and a little bit more drink. Thank you so much. I'm going to sit, and anybody who would like their book signed, I'm happy to do it. I think I'll sit maybe right here, and we'll do that. Okay? So thank you very much. Larry?
Thank you all for coming out, and thank you, Joe and Ann, for honoring me by asking me to introduce you. And have a great time tonight, all right?
All right, let's get some book signed. Okay.